In the top stories, 2 injured in car crash as road safety body appeals for more support. Salvation Army looking to raise close to $1 million. And UNAIDS head urges Barbados to continue funding the fight against HIV/AIDS. Welcome to Nation News for Friday, November 13th, 2015. I'm Natasha Beckles.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. News, your time, your way.
We begin with the news that 2 people have been hurt following a head-on collision between a van and an SUV at Goodins Alley, Speightstown, St. Peter. The van, known as Jacko's Food Stop, was stationary when an SUV crashed into it, injuring operator Victor Headley and patron Norman Foster. Mr. Foster, who is in his 70s, is the owner of Foster's Funland in Boscobel, St. Peter. He appeared to have more serious injuries, while Mr. Headley of Maynard, St. Peter, received cuts to the face. The woman who was driving the SUV appeared uninjured. The Barbados Road Safety Association is appealing to corporate Barbados for assistance in funding its education programs. Member Carson Lee says the organization plans to continue advocating for safer road practices, but it is underfunded and can't continue on its own. He made the call as the association placed a tribute in Warren St. Michael in memory of the 20 victims of road accidents for the year so far. Mr. Lee's plea received support from his president Charmaine Roland Bowen, who says she believes all drivers need to be re-educated. She thanked Jose for allowing their land to be used for the memorial. The Salvation Army fell short of raising $700,000 from its cattle appeal last year, but it is hoping to raise at least $800,000 this Christmas. Speaking during the launch of this year's drive on Thursday, Major Denzel Walcott said $1 million would keep the church's programs going for another year. The church donates food hampers and meals to the needy, offers counseling, and runs a men's hostel, among other services. Chairman of the advisory board, Paul Bernstein, called on Barbadians to make donations no matter how small.
The more difficult the economic situation gets in our country, the greater the pressure on the Salvation Army.
Yes.
The more people are in need, the harder our work becomes.
Yeah, it's true.
We, the advisory board, and myself, of course, are appealing to the people of Barbados once again to give generously. Don't dismiss the kettles. Those kettles are vital and very important to the lifeline of our survival, for our economic survival.
Yeah.
Every single dollar, $5, $20, whatever you can give, even loose change. It is very important, as I say, to the lifeline of the survival of the Salvation Army in order to help those who are in need.
Barbados can win the battle against HIV/AIDS, but it needs to continue pumping funds into the fight. This is the view of Executive Director of UNAIDS, Michelle Sidebe, who says Barbados has achieved impressive targets.
I think Barbados can be one of the first countries to reach 90. They could be one of the first countries in the world to reach 90. And I'm saying that with confidence, because the first 90 is the most difficult one, is to make people knowing their status. When people, they know their status, when 90% of the people are diagnosed, you have to move to the second one, which is to put people on treatment. But they're winning already on the first one. So I think Barbados can really quicken the pace, really seize the window of opportunity on the next 5 years to really break the backbone of the epidemic, and they can be even announcing that they control the HIV/AIDS as a public health threat. But they should not be complacent. Being complacent today, the epidemic can rebound in Barbados, and that will be unfortunate, because the investment which has been made will be lost.
The issue of violence will be on the agenda when the priests and the laity of the Anglican Church meet in Barbados for the week-long provincial synod. Archbishop of the West Indies and Bishop of Barbados, Dr. John Holder, says they will be looking at to see how violence can be addressed both locally and regionally. He was speaking during a press conference to discuss the week's activities on Friday morning. The synod, which begins on Sunday at the St. Michael Cathedral, is held every 3 years. 5 entrepreneurs beat out 6 others to make it to the finals of the central bank-sponsored Billion Dollar Dreams competition. They are Delvin Howell, Ryan Brathwaite, Ryan Bell, Gabriel Abed, and Khalil Bryan, whose businesses range from comics to exotic meats and financial technology. The central bank's public affairs officer, Novaline Brewster, lauded the quality and diversity of the entries. However, she admitted that there were some concerns about the entry criteria.
I know some of the criteria we were told were a bit steep, so that is something that we need to address going forward should we sponsor this competition again. But that is the initial feedback that we get, because people had to submit proposals not exceeding 5 pages, and then they also had to, they could provide us with appendices. But the criteria, they had to be earning revenues between $50,000 and $500,000 in a year. Of course, they had to between the ages of 18 and 35, and that too was a challenge for some people, because some people say to us that entrepreneurs get started a little bit later in life in the Barbadian context, and perhaps we needed to extend the age range, but we chose the international definition of young people.
In sport, Barbados Pride got off to a solid start against Trinidad and Tobago Red Force on the opening day of their second-round PCL Regional First-Class match on Friday. Playing at Kensington Oval, the Pride reached 166 for 3 at tea, thanks to Shamar Brooks and Roston Chase. You can visit nationnews.com for a summary of the day's play. And finally, for 1 month, parking tickets issued in Lexington, Kentucky can be paid with donations of canned food instead of cash. During the Food for Fines program, the city's parking authority will accept cans for citations from November 16th to December 18th. Those who donate 10 canned food items will receive a $15 credit on citations. Customers with multiple citations may bring in 10 cans per citation for the credits. God's Pantry Food Bank will use the food to stock its shelves. And that's Nation News for Friday. For more news, log on to nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Remember to pick up your papers over the weekend or subscribe to our e-paper. And look out for the Weekend Buzz a little later. Thank you so much for joining us.